Mounts are a staple in MMOs these days due to their massive worlds taking even bigger amounts of time to get across without them. I am Sovereign and this is the Sovereign RPG channel, and today we are going to be talking about whether New World actually needs mounts. This is a pretty divisive topic in the community. Quite a few vocal people are completely against it, and from what I've seen, many more are for it. Let me know down below in the comments where you stand on this topic. I don't know how many people remember games like Dark Age of Camelot when it was first released in 2001. Those were the days. It had no mounts, but large, sprawling, albeit mostly empty maps with the occasional group of mobs that spawned in certain areas that were seamless. What Dark Age of Camelot had was NPC horses where you would buy a ticket with in-game currency to a place and give it into the horse master, and off you went on a set path. Now, doesn't this sound familiar? Instead of horses and NPCs to set destinations, in New World we have fast travel points. The major difference being that in Dark Age of Camelot, the lack of mounts in its massive world was counted with class abilities that would speed up the entire group's run speed. Skalds, sorcerers, minstrels, chanters and other classes all having their own speed abilities that would be activated, making up for the lack of mounts. Now, personal mounts were added to the game eventually, but it took a long time for them to be implemented. But that was not an issue when there was a way to speed up travel. You know, thinking about it, the game has quite a lot of similarities to Dark Age of Camelot, but I think I'll leave that for a topic for another video. Anyway, New World does not have this counterbalance for its travel. Now, will New World add an alternative to mount travel, or will they add mounts sometime in the future? They always respond to this question in various ways by always giving a PR response that does not actually give an answer either way. What do you think they should do? Should they add mounts? Should they add an alternative method like the one discussed earlier in Dark Age of Camelot? Or do we not need any kind of speed altering movements in the game at all? There are people that argue mounts will make the world feel small. Others say they just hate the idea of mounts in general without actually having any backup to what they're saying. If you look at the New World Reddit, you'll see countless threads on this topic with some very vocal people on both sides. Amazon Games have made one thing clear. New World will not have mounts at launch, nor in the near future. They believe that mounts will ruin the feel of the game, and in some ways I agree with them, and in other ways I don't. The dev team will not answer what these, and I quote, losses would mean to the game. There are many people who are guessing at what these would be. What I agree with is mounts could take away from the game world because it allows you to pretty much speed past anything that makes the world what it is, and given the option, at least for me, I would utilize that and speed through it. Some would say that because the game has very bare bones mechanics and the major time sink in the game is the massive distances you need to travel between quests, adding mounts would drop that time significantly and make the game feel like there is nothing actually to it. You will get to the end game quicker and find out the game has no substance. While I do not completely agree with that statement, I do see some truths in it. It would make the leveling process much quicker, and you get to the end game in a few days rather than a week or two if you go hard. What do you think of that statement? Ravings of some hellbent negative Nancy, or could there be some truth in that? Could New World be hiding the fact that they do not want mounts in the game because it has no other time sink to take over from it? I for one certainly hope not, but I've seen worse if I'm being honest. There are other options than having mounts, but all these options would have the same effect as just adding mounts in the first place. The fast travel feature in the game still requires a decent amount of running, so the time sink is still there even after you unlock the vast majority of the points. On one hand, I believe mounts would take away from the expiration of points and not noticing things that you may otherwise see running around on your tippy toes. But then I found in most MMOs with a mount, I'm more inclined to actually explore the world and check out all the points of interest because of ease of doing so. Sometimes I can be a right lazy bastard when it comes to exploration, but then I would spend hours on end in EVE Online jumping from system to system trying to find a 1v1 fight that didn't end up as a 20v1. So it's not like I'm opposed to doing lots of traveling. Then other times, like in World of Warcraft, I leveled a druid on every server to run around in mount or flight form just to gather resources for crafting or selling on the auction house because it made it much easier. Perhaps they could add a wider array of fast travel points to unlock as you go, make fast travel free under a certain weight if they want to limit being able to move lots of items at once from one town to another. You could always give a weapon type the ability to add a speed buff to the group. That's an option. Or just go the easy route and add mounts with even a limited speed bonus. If you have any other additions to add to that list, write it in the comments. I'm sure there are more alternatives to travel. It's just 3 o'clock in the morning, my brain isn't completely there yet. For me at least, if they added mounts, I wouldn't mind and would use them to their fullest. If they didn't add mounts, I would still play the game and just utilize the fast travel system as much as I could and wouldn't mind all that much either. It is all down to the individual, and I'm sure if enough people spoke up either way, that Amazon Games would make the necessary additions, or they will stick with their vision of the game, which personally I would prefer. I'm getting kind of tired of gamers dictating the vision of a game instead of the creators realizing their own vision of it, but that's a topic for another time. I hope this won't cause too many arguments and hope that we can have a proper discussion about this heated topic. You can always join the Discord. In the description we have dedicated New World channels for all kinds of conversations, and if you are looking for a Covenant company on one of the US East servers, then you can also join up and ask for the roles to gain access to the company section of the Discord. Remember to like and sub for all your New World content. Let me know down below what your thoughts are on this topic. Do we need mounts? Do we need an alternative? Or do we just not need anything at all? I am Sovereign. This is the Sovereign RPG channel. Can't wait for the game to launch, and I will see you in Eternum. Play safe and avoid local chat scams.